Hello, I am Yogini Sunita, and this is Meditation, Yoga, and Stuff podcast. I believe my dharma or my life's purpose is to share my understanding of meditation, yoga, and Ayurveda, holistic healing science of India. I make these amazing wisdoms accessible and adaptable for present times. So let's start.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today's topic is deep relaxation. What is deep relaxation? Well, according to wisdom of yoga, the deep relaxation state is our natural state, that state of stillness. Now, you may find it a little bit surprising when I say that it is our natural state, because in modern world, what's happening is that there is a constant bombardment of information, and that's why our thoughts are constantly spinning. So it is sometimes difficult to believe that this is our deep relaxation state, is our true nature. But according to wisdom of yoga and Ayurveda, this is the state we can actually live in. This is the tranquil state where we can be completely still at the same time experience everything around us. And how can we do that? And that's where a wisdom of yoga gives us guidelines. So in other words, from modern point of view, if we look at it, yoga is really wonderful for our mental health. Because when we start following this understanding of bringing stillness in our life, day-to-day life, in our every moment, then we can actually move towards the state of relaxation. The mind then moves towards the parasympathetic mode, where we start seeing the reality more. What happens that our mind create these pictures or stories around everything, and that's the way of the perception of the mind, and that's how mind needs to make a sense of things around it. It is important for our brain to think like this. But what happens that these stories can become all encompassing, and they consume our life, and we don't really see the real picture. So this is where wisdom of yoga calls it Maya. The illusion happens, and what we start thinking is our true nature is not really reality. The reality is our true nature is that deep state of relaxation. So how can we reach towards this deep state of relaxation? We can move towards this deep state of relaxation by taking conscious awareness towards what exactly happening in our life at this moment. So that's the first key. Awareness is the key. So that's the first step to start noticing. Once we start noticing what's happening in the life, for example, you may notice that, maybe the job is, for the job you have to sit for a long period of time. You start noticing maybe the eating habits can improve a little bit. You start noticing that you feel a little bit depleted after a full day's work. And so to come out of that, maybe a glass of wine or something like that you use. And so these are the things we, a human being, do to cope up with situations. There is no judgment here. It is the fact. So we just first, without any judgment, we observe what's happening in the life. Once we start observing this, we start noticing what can I do to move from this state towards optimal health. So how can we do that? Now, the simple solution can be, if you are constantly sitting down, maybe you need to get up and walk around a little bit and come back sitting again, things like that. So you're already moving towards your better health. Now you start noticing that this movement gives you more energy, and you start noticing that you don't need that glass of wine at the end of the day. So simple things like that, if we can add into our life, and slow and steady progress. Now this was very, very layperson's very, very simple example. Yoga is actually a way of living, and Ayurveda, the sister science of yoga, also has amazing daily routines. If we start bringing those into life, these routines and your wisdom of yoga actually start with prevention. So prevention is the key. So we start with looking after ourselves. So in other words, instead of prevention, we can call it self-care. So self-care is very important. And why do we need to do that? Because we're constantly looking outwards. So when we are constantly looking outwards, we are maybe solving problem of paying bills, or we have looking at the screens and things like that. So we are constantly looking outwards, trying to make sense of our life, basically. And sometimes we also try to numb ourselves from actual problems. That's how human mind works. So once we start noticing this without any judgment, let's start moving from that state towards our optimal health. And this is where wisdom of yoga suggests a meditation. Because once we start stilling our mind, we start noticing these stories we create, the coloring to our thoughts. And this could be really, the coloring here, coloring here is actually our emotions, we give coloring to each and every story. So story itself may be a little bit different, but we may remember it with a lot of coloring about it. So this is how we kind of like bring in this information in our memory, and we hold on to that, and we design our life around that story. Now, this is a seemingly simple thing, but we know that it is complicated. We, as a human being, a multidimensional being. So how can we bring stillness and deep relaxation in our life? So correct practices for that. So first, awareness is the key. Second is correct practices. So for example, not all meditation is for everyone. So we need to do a little bit research and finding out a few, doing or maybe taking part into different types of meditation. Guided meditations are quite fantastic. So if you can take part into that, if you have a teacher who can take you through guided meditation, that's good. If not, you can start with an app or something like that. Just a word of caution here is that if for some reason, if you don't feel comfortable in these meditations, you need to change that practice. So that's very important. Now, if your system likes some practice, now take that practice and maybe do it for 21 consecutive days and see the effect of this practice. So this is how we build up on the practices of stillness. So meditation is one practice. But in first go, maybe the mind is so busy that it may not connect with meditation immediately. So we can, yogis understood that, and we can work with that. So how can we do that? So we understand the physical movements. So maybe going to a gentle flow yoga asana class is fantastic. So what happens in these gentle classes is we start bringing awareness into our system. We start noticing when I lift my arm up, maybe it's not reaching that high, or maybe it can reach really high. Whatever you're noticing, you may notice that maybe one side behaves different than the other. You may notice maybe you hold tension in some part of your body. So this may, and again, this observation may not happen in one class. It will happen when we do these classes repeatedly. So if you have a yoga teacher around whom you like, again, it is personal choice. So choose yoga teacher which is right for you, and doing practices with them for few, or maybe few months, and then you start noticing that how yoga has actually changed your posture, and how the wisdom of yoga, like for example, you start bringing in better posture into your day-to-day life. So this is how we bring the movement, awareness of movement into our life. Once we start cultivating this movement, now maybe the system is ready to do a little bit of moving towards meditation. Now, this is where we need to understand that the deep relaxation state is also something our system understands, but sometimes we also need to cultivate it. So maybe in after your yoga or in your yoga session at the end of the practice of shavasana or relaxation, guided relaxation, you may experience this stillness, that deep relaxation for a few seconds. And that's the beginning. So now your system understands this deep relaxation. You can take that into your meditation practice. So then slowly you can build your meditation practice. Now there is no right or wrong for the meditation. What I mean is you can sit in stillness, sit on chair, you can sit on floor, whichever works for you. Your system, your body needs to be very comfortable, but not so comfortable that you're falling asleep. For meditation, we sit upright. For relaxation, we lie down. So if you're going to do meditation practice, I suggest sit up. Now, you can take support if you want, but I suggest sitting up. And first, maybe just 5 minutes of meditation practice, even 2 minutes of meditation practice. Start there if you find 5 minutes difficult. Once you find that 2 minutes is okay, you can start then doing 5 minutes and slowly build your practice and be really practical. Be really practical. How much time you can give daily in your practice. If you set a goal of 1 hour meditation every day, we're setting ourselves for failure, right? So we need to set a goal which is very realistic. Maybe 5 minutes is your thing. So, or maybe 10 minutes, whichever works for you. Have that goal, and daily meditation practice is the key. In Wisdom of Yoga, the first guideline from the Yoga Sutra is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Here begins discipline of yoga. So we need to understand that yoga is discipline. And when we understand that, we can bring in that discipline daily in our life. So daily practice is important. And when you in your meditation, you may come across that deep relaxation state. Another way to bring in the deep relaxation is yoga nidra practices. So yoga nidra is different than shavasana practice. It is a kriya. That means it is a practice which is actually guided by guru to the disciple. So guru used to tune into disciples' energy and suggest these practices to the disciple. Nowadays we don't have gurus, so where can we learn yoga nidra practice? So some yoga teachers offer yoga nidra practice. Doing it in their guidance is the key. In yoga nidra practice, we also have sankalpa, which is something called setting intention. And the sankalpa can be very powerful. So doing yoga nidra practices with guidance, that's what I suggest. If you are doing it first time, I suggest do it with your yoga teachers, and that is very important. And in that state of yoga nidra practice, when you are into that deep state of relaxation, we can be completely aware, but at the same time we're completely relaxed. It is a very powerful state. So we reach towards that state. You can again, with that understanding of that state, you can maybe experience that in meditation. Now, rule of thumb is we don't go into meditation or yoga nidra or shavasana or yogic relaxation practices with any expectation. We allow it to happen and we connect with this state of deep relaxation. When we connect with this state of deep relaxation, this actually feels like we are home. We feel like we know this place. It feels very comfortable. The system feels very rested. Sometimes these practices are called power nap, or especially yoga nidra practice is called power nap because it's that effective. Just few minutes of yoga nidra, say 30 minutes of yoga nidra practice, will recharge you so much, so deeply. We get that relaxation practice. Another practice which we can include for deep relaxation is restorative yoga. If you're not experienced restorative yoga before, I'll explain what it means. So restorative yoga is where we hold the poses for longer period of time with lots of support. So you may be holding, say, for example, bridge pose for maybe 5 to 7 minutes. We hold the poses with bolster, blankets, and other yoga props with lot of support to reach a state of relaxation. This practice is so beautiful that a lot of my clients call it yummy practice. It takes you to the state of relaxation very quickly. It is also very beautiful. All we have to do is let go. And what are we letting go? We are letting go of all the stress, tension. Sometimes you don't even know what we are letting go. It's just trusting in your system, allowing your system to let go what is not serving you. That is the key. Allow yourself to enjoy the pose and reach to this state of deep relaxation. The correct restorative yoga practice will take us to this deep state of relaxation, which is absolutely beautiful. And in this, again, 1 hour restorative practice, you may be just doing, six asana practices, poses, but the effect of that is so amazing that it takes you to the deep state of stillness. And so I offer this to once a month to my clients. Towards end of the month, especially my corporate clients really love it. The reason for that is usually end of the month there is a lot of happening. Also, financial year end, on our year end again, which is coming soon. All these times, we need those relaxation practices to just have a breather, and these relaxation practices can recharge us. They can give us so much, so much rejuvenating our energy. So we almost renew ourselves. So that's what relaxation practices does. And to reach these relaxation practices, all we have to do is slow down. Slow down and smell the roses is the that saying. It's very true. So we are slowing down and we are becoming aware of physical sensations, energy movements. We are becoming aware of our breath. We're becoming aware of what's happening in this now, because that's the key. We are constantly living either in our future or in our past. But now is where we are really living. So coming back to this now helps us to move towards relaxation. Now, does that mean that we have to do these practices every day? Not necessarily. The restorative practice may be once a week or once a month is also okay. If you can do it daily, that will be wonderful. And you can choose a few asanas, restorative asanas, or maybe do them at the end of the day before you go to sleep. You will find that it is very helpful. The pose called legs up the wall is so beautiful. It relaxes you so much. Maybe you can do that before you go to sleep. This way you can bring it into day-to-day life. But if you can't, if you don't have time for that, maybe once a week you can go to yoga class where they offer these practices. You can also yoga nidra practice. So once you learned how to do it, you can have a recording and do it at your home. Relaxation practices. These are called pratyahara practices. These practices take us from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode. So find what works for you. Find what practice is right for you. You may need multiple practices, or you may enjoy multiple practices, and that's fine. So choosing right practice for your system where you feel at home, that is the key. That will take you to the deep state of relaxation. And that state, that deep state, is your true nature. So finding our true nature, or this deep state of relaxation, is the key. Now, when we start doing this more often, reaching to this state of stillness, we start actually functioning on a really high level. So we are moving towards our optimal health. Our mind start calming down, our brain start functioning better, our whole system, the physical, emotional, mental, whole system start functioning really well. So having deep state of relaxation into our day-to-day life is really amazing. We can also bring in like a sense of nourishment through these practices. I like to call this sense of deep relaxation as coming home. And for me, whenever I am doing the practices, yoga practices, like gentle asana practice, connecting with my system, meditation practice, yoga nidra practice, or just simple legs up the wall, takes me to that state of reaching home. And the more and more we start doing these practices, the more we get used to this feeling, and the more we can bring that into our life. We start choosing the right things. The choices become different after these practices. For example, instead of constantly going to chaotic situation, we start slow down and notice, really, is this chaos serving me? If not, how can I do things differently? And we become more productive and more creative. So it's really amazing to bring this deep state of relaxation into our life. Deep relaxation is not merely physical act of lying down or just sitting up for meditation. It is something profound. In that stillness, people say, oh, what I'm doing, just sitting and doing nothing. No, we are doing something. We are coming back home into ourselves. So this is what the reuniting our body, mind, our soul together. And that is the deep state of relaxation. Now, there are so many ways to connect with it. You can also can connect with this state with music. Gentle classical music will help. You can also connect it with sound bath meditations. These are done with crystal singing bowls. You can connect it with just sitting in nature near maybe river bank or ocean. So bringing this deep sense of relaxation is where you feel really connected with something, noticing your presence and the presence which is higher than you around you is also a very powerful experience. So coming back to home with deep state of relaxation is the key. I am offering restorative yoga and yoga nidra teacher training of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It is for yoga teachers, but also non-yogis as well. So if you want to learn how to do, how to reach the state of restorative yoga and how to do yoga nidra practice, if you want to learn this, please join me. I will put a link in the show notes. So feel free to join me for this. It is this skill is something you can learn to move towards the deep state of relaxation. Once you learn it, you can also share it with your family, your friends. It's amazing. For yoga teachers, there will be continuing education points and certification. I will give you that. And also, for yoga teachers, you will learn how to sequence the restorative yoga poses to bring in optimal effect of the restorative yoga. You will learn how to use props. You will learn what not to do during these classes. And remember, restorative yoga is different than yin yoga. The vast difference there. So restorative yoga takes you from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode. So if you want to learn that and share that with your clients, join me. I will put all the information in the show notes. Looking forward to see you there. Also, don't forget to join the membership program. In the membership, or when you become Patreon for my or support me through Patreon, you will receive a lot of goodies like very gentle asana classes, meditation, guided meditation practices, and the practices other and a lot of other things which will give you this these tools to move from sympathetic mode towards parasympathetic mode. These tools are designed to help you to reach towards deep relaxation. So feel free to join me. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that you're taking this time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.